It's been a very active day, and I've got live cameras across our area to help tell your weather story. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather, and it's great to see you on a Thursday. I hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we just continue to see more ample tropical moisture coming in, and this is breaking out heavier showers, more widespread storms, a lot of wind, just a more active pattern. And I'm going to break down how that's going to evolve in the days ahead. We'll look at your island by island rainfall forecast and give you the latest on Hurricane Eric that did move inland into southern Mexico earlier today, with some major implications there. As we get started, Meteo Mundo, sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. It is storm season, and if a storm moves across your area, or even if you've been in an auto accident, they can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Go to leanomelaw.com if you would like more information. As always, I want to hear from the Meteo Mundo weather community. What's been happening in your area, what the weather has been like. This is the surface analysis. Eric has now moved inland. Again, unfortunately, we've had some major impacts in portions of Mexico. We have a tropical wave axis moving right across the ABC Islands at the hour into the northern sides of South America, and two additional tropical waves here in the western Atlantic, which will be moving in. And this will be a story that I'll break down in this video about how these tropical waves are going to get more impactful for our area in the latter half of June, regardless of whether they become tropical depressions or storms. They're going to just throw a lot more activity into our area. So let's get started here. Again, in our western zones, I mentioned it in yesterday's video, we were going to get wet in the Yucatan and Central America today on the eastern side of Eric. And you can just see the heavy rain and storms that have moved across Quintana Roo today, especially in the Merida area. Look, not only has it been good tropical downpours, there's been a lot of lightning, and look at the winds. Those numbers are wind gusts in miles an hour. Merida has had several wind gusts of nearly 50 miles an hour today. I mean, that can cause some damage. That can knock down trees. That can cause power issues. Campeche also had some very strong winds. We haven't had the winds on the east side of the Yucatan, Cancun, Cozumel, Tulum, down towards Chetumal, but it's been a wet, stormy day. Not fantastic for the beachgoers or the vacationers, but this is an area that has been desperate for heavier rain to help stem the tide of some very dry conditions the last couple of months. So Eric is providing that. Now, Eric has not brought good news to the south coast of Mexico, but for this area, some rain and storms that have been needed. Showers and storms are going to be very prevalent today in Belize and Guatemala as well. Basically everywhere across those countries. Orange Walk, San Ignacio, but especially along the coast, San Pedro, Belize City, Dangriga. Speaking of San Pedro, I've got this great photo from Johan in the Ambergris Cay area of San Pedro there along the coast of Belize, looking back off towards the coastline. Beautiful shot. I mean, even though this is a still image, you can see the wind, if you will, see the wind just from what the palm trees are doing. And then if you look in the background, you can see what I call those SLCs, those scary looking clouds, sheets of rain coming in with a lot of wind. And look, can't rule out a water spout or an isolated weak tornado in this environment. It's a very turbulent environment right now in coastal Belize and the Northwest Caribbean in general. Johan, appreciate you sending in that photo to help tell the weather story. Same situation for the Bay Islands of Honduras, Utila, Roatan, and Guanaja. Again, the winds are brisk, but they're just not nearly as strong as what they've had in the Yucatan today. I've also got the buoy data on, same situation. You're going to see the wind gusts there in miles per hour. Showers and storms are developing and moving inland from coastal sides of Honduras and Nicaragua. These are areas that could get 4 to 6 inches of rain in one day, 100 to 150 millimeters, and some excessive rainfall is possible there. These are actually spreading back to the south. I mean, obviously here we're seeing counterclockwise winds. So you have counterclockwise winds here, but in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, the winds are actually still out of the north and helping to push some of these showers back off towards the south. So it's a very interesting scenario when you get this far east. These storms are moving in a counterclockwise fashion, but these showers and storms are actually trying to push a little north to south at the hour. But they're all associated with all of this tropical moisture here as Eric has moved on shore. Now we're going to start to see more active weather here in the short term. I mean on this Thursday afternoon in the ABC Islands. First of all, we've had a heck of a lot of wind. Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao for today. See some wind gusts there of over 30 miles an hour, building in some clouds and the opportunity for some passing showers and storms. Now, they're not going to stick around in any one location very quickly, but Let's take a look at our live camera network here at Meteo Mundo from Oranjestad, Aruba today. Again, relatively overcast skies at the present time. The opportunity for some passing showers and some breezy conditions there in Oranjestad. Still not a horrible beach day, but probably not completely dry for the beachgoers on this late Thursday. Swing over to the Windward Islands. First of all, Nueva Esparta catching some heavier showers there, and we're beginning to see some of this rain build back into places like Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, the Grenadines, St. Vincent, and Barbados. I'll bring on the visible satellite imagery here. You can just see how, again, thick the cloud coverage is. Now, are the showers extremely prevalent? In most areas, no. Right? We've had more cloud coverage than what we would see or expect to see with some heavier rain, but we've had some passing showers for today. But again, it's just not a Chamber of Commerce afternoon. There hasn't been a lot of sunshine. We've had some marine advisories from time to time as well. And I'll take you live to St. Lucia. Oh no, we lost the camera out of St. Lucia. Sorry about that. We'll move on. I can tell you this, the camera in St. Lucia was active just before I recorded this, and I took a look at it. It's another gray, overcast day. They've had some passing showers and some breezy conditions there in Corinth and all of St. Lucia as well. So again, just not the most pleasant of afternoons. A few showers lifting into the area here, but beginning tomorrow, we're actually going to start to dry out in some of these areas. Let's move our way north. Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, again, winds have been right around 30 miles an hour. We've had a few passing showers in these spots as well, but many dry hours and locations. Same situation for our friends in Anguilla. St. Bart's has had a nice solid 33-mile-an-hour wind earlier today. Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, even a little bit southwest of the Leeward Islands right now. If you live in St. Kitts and Nevis or Saba, St. Eustatius, you look back off to your southwest, you'll see thicker clouds and even a little bit of lightning trying to work its way in. So, places like Saba and St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Eustatius and St. Bart's and St. Martin and Anguilla, the opportunity for some of this tropical moisture to stream in late on this Thursday and give you a few showers. It'll be the same situation in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. We haven't had a ton of rain today so far, but it's beginning to spread in here, and you can see that in the enhanced satellite imagery. When I bring back on the visible satellite imagery, again, look at just the thicker cloud coverage here beginning to stream back in. We'll start off with a high deck of clouds, but then build in some showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. It's not going to be widespread, but St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, and the British Virgin Islands will have that opportunity. We're just starting to see here a few showers once again develop on the western sides of Puerto Rico and actually try and back build their way off towards the east. Take a look at the lightning here. Again, Mayaguez area towards Ulti Alto, trying to span back towards the east. We've had brisk winds yet again. Let's take a look at Ponce's winds for today. Again, even though these storms are back building east, the surface winds are actually out of the southeast. So the surface winds are this way, even though the showers and storms are trying to build kind of in a west to east fashion. Again, there's a little bit of a confluence of winds at the present time. We're getting some thunderstorms in an isolated fashion developing over Haiti and the Dominican Republic right now. Again, live here from Meteo Mundo, you can see some of the storms and the lightning data. Interior sections north of Santo Domingo, Bani, Azua, La Romana. Some of this will try and push to the Samana Peninsula. Santiago de los Caballeros has an opportunity for a shower storm today. Puerto Plata, eastern sides of Haiti, right along the country border there, and probably fairly quiet in Lacaille and Port-au-Prince overall. Again, an isolated shower storm is possible, but a little bit drier here. Boy, once again, my friends in Jamaica, another interesting story where we still have very strong winds and we're still getting some hefty thunderstorms in the western side of the island. Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. James. Now, St. Elizabeth has been an area that has been very dry. Let us hope that we're beginning to turn the tide and stem the tide and get a better chance for some storms in areas that have been dry. Certainly Westmoreland and Hanover parishes, Westmoreland, Hanover parishes have had the better chance for storms, but I hope we're going to get some better chances here, down towards the Black River area, even on over towards Santa Cruz, places like that. You can see the lightning beginning to develop there. Closer to Mandeville and Maypen right now. We're still relatively dry. Old Harbor, Kingston, Portmore, Spanish Town. Winds are still a big story. We have the large wave and strong wind advisory for all coastal areas, north and south, and then the offshore waters of the South side of the island, including Pedro and Morant Bank. We still continue with that as well. Trying to get a couple of showers toward Little Cayman and Cayman Brac for today, Grand Cayman, but generally speaking, we're actually a little bit drier here. When I show you the water vapor imagery, you can see that we've actually nudged in some drier air, which is kind of wrapping around this entire system. It's a very interesting feature right now where the air becomes much more moisture-laden in eastern Cuba, Turks and Caicos, Hispaniola, but for the present time, we've actually nudged a little bit drier air here in portions of the Northwest Caribbean and certainly back into the Bahamas. Once again, it's another beautiful day in the Bahamas, but not going to get any way of any rain anytime soon of any appreciable amount. I mean, can we still hit an isolated shower or storm here from time to time? Yes. But is it going to be few and far between? Absolutely. Again, I would still favor the Turks and Caicos, Southeast Bahamas for a few passing showers today, but still not a lot of rain. And then central, northern, northwest Bahamas, enjoy what's going to be a beautiful afternoon. The interesting thing is the storm's going gangbusters in Florida right now, but I don't believe for the most part they'll pull off of the East Coast. The west side of Grand Bahama, Bimini, has the best chance later today, but I'm not really expecting it. So you get a shot like this from central Eleuthera. Again, a little bit of a breeze, a little bit of clouds here and there, but a lot of blue sky. It's a beautiful shot on this late Thursday, live for you here at Meteo Mundo from central Eleuthera. Friends, let's get into the forecast as we do so. Thanks for taking a quick second and liking the video. Join our community. Hit that subscribe button right now. We've got a fantastic one. If you do either of those things, it really helps out the channel more than you think. If you've gotten anything out of this video so far, I really do appreciate that. You want to take it a step further and become a member at Meteo Mundo? Have two different tiers for you guys. Our supporter tier is just 99 cents a month. You get custom badges and emojis. Your names are in different colors on our live streams. I shout you guys out. I appreciate all of our supporters. You want to kick that up a notch, you go to Team MM. It's our new tier for $2.99 a month. You get exclusive member shorts. I grab my phone. I gave you updates before, after videos, in between, just anything that I'm thinking, what's on top of my mind. I bring you those updates to tropical systems as well. Appreciate all of our memberships as well. All right, so this is the Saharan dust forecast over the next week. We are going to get another plume to move in early to mid next week. It's going to have some impacts to the lesser and the greater Antilles and into the Bahamas, not significant. And for the short term over the weekend, you notice that there's not going to be a lot of dust in play Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And even, this next plume, there'll be some concentrations of dust. We'll have some air quality go back to the moderate level. But how much is it really going to, affect what's going to be our next tropical waves? So the next thing I want to do is take you out to the southern portions of the Atlantic here, the main development region, what we call the intertropical convergence zone. Now, this time of the year, the West African waves are not emerging yet. That's August, September, October. So it's kind of here where we see the tropical waves develop. Now, this time of the year also, the ITCZ is far enough south in latitude where a lot of the tropical moisture slams into South America and doesn't gain enough north latitude to really have big impacts. But as we get towards the latter half of June and into July, that intertropical convergence zone shifts a little bit further to the north. The waves become a little bit more prominent, where now we start to see this. And I've got two on board, as you saw from that surface map early in the video, that is going to be moving in the next 3 to 5 days. That's going to have more impacts. We're just going to continue to amp up the moisture in play, and we're just going to continue to get more active weather. That doesn't necessarily mean that these are going to become depressions or storms, but for widespread showers and storms and just more active weather and a lot of wind, absolutely. Now, it's a completely different story in the East Pacific. Again, Eric has moved on shore. It was a major hurricane. I believe it was the first one to ever move on shore here in South Mexico as a major hurricane in the month of June. You can see, again, just south of Acapulco, reports of up to 16 inches of rain. So significant land and mudslides are unfortunately an issue. Coastal flooding, storm surge, all of that. Our thoughts are with our friends here in this area. If you know anyone who lives in this area, or if you do, let us know in the comments section below how things are going. We're just starting to get some information moving in. And if you live in those spots, you know someone who does, you want to send me a picture or video to pass along in tomorrow's video, I'll absolutely do that as well. Look, guys, on the heels of this, the sixth named storm, the F named storm, could be developing in the next 5 days or so in the same areas that the other 5 have formed. This is an extremely active pattern for the Eastern Pacific. Again, back in our part of the world, we're going to continue to get areas and waves of storms over the next several days. in part with the moisture that Eric has brought out west, but also in part for the additional tropical moisture that I mentioned here in the eastern and the central Pacific, central Caribbean. I have too many different bodies of water in my brain right now on my mind. But let's get into it. Break it down for you guys. We'll start off with the GFS model over the next couple of days. We'll talk about the reflectivity first, which of course is just going to be a rainfall forecast. So again, Cancun, Cozumel, Chechbal, Belize City, Guanaja, Roatan, Utila, back down into Nicaragua, Honduras, portions of Panama, Costa Rica. It's going to stay wet. That's not going to change. Some of this moisture is going to try and drive a little bit farther north and east. Now, I mentioned in the short term, we have some drier air over the Cayman Islands and even over to Jamaica. That hasn't stopped the storms in the western parishes today. Just overall, you can see more tropical moisture beginning to stream in. Let me make sure I bring on this model timeline here so you guys can see. We're just looking at the next 3 days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday through your weekend. I do expect there to be better shower chances and more coverage of that rain, which is why I'm hoping it's not just the localized pattern that we've seen in Jamaica, what seems like the last couple of weeks with a few showers out east and then thunderstorms out west. The areas, especially in central sides of the island that haven't had a lot of rain, should have a better chance. I mean, is it a 100% slam dunk? No, but the overall pattern is changing here for this ample moisture to come back in to give you a better opportunity. Cuba will have better shower and storm chances as well. We're just going to stay wet here, especially in the northern sides of Central America and the Yucatan. 60-70% chance for rain the next several days. You get as far north as Cancun and Cozumel, probably not as high, but still some heavier tropical downpours. As we push over to the ABC Islands, one thing I want to point out here is that the wind is not going anywhere. We'll have passing showers in Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, but guys, we got fresh easterlies, which will be 30 to 40 miles an hour each and every afternoon. It'll drive some fast-moving showers across the area. Some areas won't get a lot of rain. Now, in the short term, Friday, early Saturday, we'll be drying out here in the Windward Islands and the southern half of the Lesser Antilles. But as we get into Sunday, here comes our next tropical wave. And here comes, again, better shower chances, maybe even isolated thunderstorms. So, late in the day on Sunday, you'll start to see this tropical wave moving back in. Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, with more widespread coverage of the shower. So drier for Friday, Saturday, better chance for storms developing in on Sunday. Overall rain chances will be moderate from Martinique north, Dominica, Guadeloupe to Antigua, Barbuda. It'll be area dependent. Some areas will have better rain chances tomorrow and then drier through Sunday. Other areas will be drier starting tomorrow and then pick back up some rain beginning on Sunday. I don't expect there to be a big coverage area here. Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis north to the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, but there'll be a little bit better chances. Now, Puerto Rico will probably have a better chance for rain tomorrow and then dry out a bit as we get through the weekend. And it'll be the same situation for the Dominican Republic. Passing showers here. Nothing extremely concentrated, but still some locally heavy rainfall is possible in some areas, and the winds will continue to be a big story in these areas. Cuba, as I've mentioned, will have healthy rain chances. I expect scattered showers for the southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos area, including Grand Turk. It's not going to be a ton, but a fast passing shower is in your area. And you get further north, Cat Island, Exuma, Rum Key, on over towards Andros and New Providence, Eleuthera, the Abacos, Grand Bahama, Walker's Key, Bimini. If you catch a passing shower in the coming days, consider yourselves quite lucky. The air is still relatively dry here, guys, and there's nothing in the way of pumping in enough tropical moisture to provide anything more than isolated passing showers. Bermuda could catch a couple of showers on Saturday, but relatively speaking, we've got a relatively dry forecast for you guys. Now, before we move on into the island by island rainfall forecast, I've mentioned the winds, so I want to bring that up for you guys as well. I'll make these arrows a little bit bigger so you guys can see, but again, purples and pinks on this map are going to be 20, 25. The whites get you up to 30 mile an hour winds. Brisk winds anywhere that we've had marine advisories. I would expect that to continue. We've had that in some of the Lesser Antilles. Barbados has a marine advisory for today. We've seen that in portions of the ABC Islands. I mentioned the large wave and strong wind advisory for all of Jamaica, especially the offshore waters of the South Coast. Expect a lot of wind pushing in out of the east across the Caribbean coastline of the Yucatan and Central America. And we still have better conditions for boaters here with our big area of high pressure in the Western Atlantic for the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. Potentially by the later part of the weekend, it picks up a little bit in the Caicos and portions of Grand Turk. So let's get into your island by island rainfall forecast. It looks like this, friends. Again, limited opportunity in the Bahamas through the weekend. Enjoy it. Get outside. It'll be great. Turks and Caicos, isolated showers. Cuba, better chance for showers and some heftier storms as well. Cayman Islands, rain chances should be building. I'm more optimistic into the weekend. I'll be monitoring that situation. Could even be some thunderstorms with some locally heavy downpours. Again, it's just, do those storms get over the islands? Relatively speaking, the size compared to the Caribbean, Cayman Islands are pretty tiny. Belize rain chances are highest tomorrow, but still healthy Saturday and Sunday. Cancun and Cozumel, scattered showers and storms through Sunday. Jamaica's rain chances go up a bit, right? It's not 70-80%, but it should be higher. And again, I'm hoping just a pattern change brings rain to areas that have been dry. The Dominican Republic, 50 tomorrow, 40 Saturday, Sunday. Again, falling rain chances over the weekend in Puerto Rico. A little bit higher, especially in the British Virgin Islands, especially over towards Anegada. A little bit farther north and east, a little bit better moisture quality, higher shower chances there. Not much in Bermuda in the next couple days. Best chances Saturday. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, it's isolated to scatter. A little bit higher in Anguilla, a little bit lower, a little bit farther south. Drier to start Antigua, building rain chances there, and then just kind of staying steady in the 30 to 40% chance range for Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominique, and Martinique. Still fast-moving showers, not expecting any locally heavier rainfall. Again, a little bit drier earlier in the pattern here, Friday, Saturday, St. Lucia, SVG, and then should be building a bit, especially a little bit farther south. Barbados, Grenada, TNT as the next tropical wave comes in. Late Saturday, but especially on Sunday, should be improving rain chances. And this could be a little bit conservative. I might be upping that rain chance on Sunday. I'll be monitoring the situation. Building rain chances over Suriname and Guyana. Again, they're even more in that axis of tropical moisture farther south in latitude. Nueva Esparta, isolated showers. Best chance tomorrow is for the ABC Islands, then few and far between on Saturday and Sunday. But a heck of a lot of wind and a heck of a lot of surf and sea conditions to be contentious about. Again, you look at the map on here and you see the greens and the yellows. Now you're talking about wave heights that are 8, 10, even 12 feet. I mean, we're talking about easily 2.5 to 3.5 meter waves, getting close to 4 meters in a couple of spots, and, kind of kicking this out into the Northwest Caribbean and eventually the Southwest Gulf of Mexico as the first tropical wave, which is, again, the axis is over the ABC Islands, progresses to the north and to the west. Yet another system developing here. So if you watch this later into the period here, you're going to see even more wave heights there. Now, we'll pick up the European rainfall totals. Again, you'll start to see Central America, even the Yucatan build in with some of that rain. Lower rainfall totals, generally speaking, the farther north that you go. But, throughout this period, Cayman Islands, Jamaica's rain totals should go higher, especially down towards TNT as well. Up to the northern side of the Lesser Antilles, not as much. Same situation for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. And, wetter in the Dominican Republic compared to Haiti, but, some rain and storms there, but it'll be more isolated to get some of the heavier showers in those areas of Hispaniola. So we can look at this on the GFS model as well. And again, I can actually query the individual points here. And just to keep an eye out, again, Belize, if we take a look at this, let me bring on this query tool. Again, still talking about the opportunity for maybe up to 4 inches of rain in the next few days here along coastal Belize. That's a solid 100 millimeters of rain. Not as much expected overall in the Yucatan, but still Merida could get some heavier downpours. Roatan, Utila, Guanaja, we'll just see. This, you can clearly see that, does the 2.5 inches of rain right here fall over Guanaja, or is it just the inch, right? That's the thing that the model has a tougher time discerning with all of this richer tropical moisture in play, because you get to coastal Honduras and Nicaragua and look at what you're talking about here. Now the model says, oh, by the way, there's more than a foot of rain that falls on the far eastern Caribbean side of Nicaragua. Possible, we'll see. Costa Rica, Panama, again, but, off the coastline here, here's Guatemala City. And again, the significant rain that we've had along the southern coast of Mexico, Acapulco off towards the south. All right, again, let's try and get some of this activity over the Cayman Islands. There's that bullseye, but hopefully, again, it's a little bit more widespread. We'll see how it plays out in Jamaica, but I'm expecting a little bit more. There's your heavier storms, southeast side of Cuba, not much rain in the Bahamas, and again, really scattered here. And look at all of the heavier rain, Trinidad again. South side of Trinidad compared to Tobago could get double the amount of rain. But even Tobago has a better chance for heavier rain than Barbados or St. Vincent or St. Lucia. Right now, the farther south in latitude that you are, overall, your better chance for some heftier rainfall totals. So let's extend this out now and take a look at our tropical outlook over the next several days. We'll do it the next week. What do you say? So let's see here. We'll go out to the 26th. Perfect. Loop this up. All right. So GFS model over the next week. I've got the European model. We'll take a look at that as well. Obviously, we're going to stay wet out west because this monsoon trough, another developing area of low pressure, is just going to keep things active. Again, at this point in time, nothing looks to really try and spin up, especially in the Caribbean. Potentially down the road, we get something a little bit squirrely in the Southwest Gulf towards the last few days of June. Something I'll be watching out for. But if you just notice, and I'm just letting this loop up over a week, if you just kind of put your finger on one spot, there's a lot of green on the map overall in the next 7 days in any one location. As far north and east as Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and portions of Cuba. Now, again, it'll be more passing scattered showers with some locally heavier downpours for Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and more concentrated over Central America and the Yucatan, but it's just a wet forecast overall. As I've mentioned, we're going to get our tropical waves becoming a little bit more of a player in our weather in the eastern side of the Caribbean as we get to the last week of June. And you can clearly see that. Now, still farther south in latitude compared to most of the Lesser Antilles, but this is a trend in the beginning of that, and we typically see it this time of the year where these tropical waves gain north latitude earlier in the Atlantic and have more impacts here. And again, it'll be something I'll be monitoring, but especially for the Windward Islands, this means a more active pattern and more heavier rainfall chances. Still a little bit drier here, Lesser Antilles, portions of the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico in the week ahead, and same situation for Hispaniola. Potentially, we start to drive some of this moisture over Cuba, promoting a better chance for showers across portions of the Bahamas, again in that 5, 6, 7 day time frame. We'll see how it plays out, but generally speaking, just a little bit more active pattern even there after a drier weekend ahead. Now I'll switch over to the winds for you guys as well and loop this up, and we'll take a look at this. Again, could we get the 6th named storm of the East Pacific season before we get our first? It looks likely. I would say there's a better chance than not of that happening, given what's going to develop over the next 5 to 7 days. But just a heck of a lot of wind again. You just see all this purple and white on the map here, and you look at your legend. You're pushing 30+ mile-an-hour winds here at the surface. These are sustained winds. These aren't even the gusts. And again, this is where the GFS model is still like, as this stuff tries to spiral back into the southern sides of Quintana Roo and Belize and Guatemala and the Bay Islands, just a little bit of a kink, still right there, right at the end of the model time frame. So if I pause this and I bring it out, you're still looking at, again, that would be a little bit of a weakness. So a little bit of a rotation here. The winds associated with that here would look like this. Take it out a little bit further in time. So right here. And again, I don't expect this to become anything, but the winds associated with it sustained are in that 30 to 35 mile an hour range. That's what pushes over the Yucatan and then potentially could get a little bit more of a low level center in the Southwest Gulf. So I'll be monitoring that. If you look at it on the European model, first of all, take a look down here. It's going to develop Flossie, the 6th named storm of the East Pacific season. As I take you out through the 29th here, you're not going to see a lot in the way of actual development in the Southwest Gulf. Now, yesterday's video, again, we had a little bit more here and potentially towards the very, very end of June, the European model lights up a little bit more in the Western Gulf overall, but it's still much more active here. We're still quiet out in the Western Atlantic. We would expect that this time of the year, but again, the tropical waves are going to bring us more widespread showers and storms, and underneath that, more disturbed weather overall. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Follow us across social media. It's Instagram, TikTok, X, and Facebook. We are on all of those platforms. You want to send me a picture or video like Johan did to tell the weather story in your area? Simple way to do it, mymeteomundo@gmail.com. As always, if you have a specific question about the forecast, Let me know in the comments section below. Please remember that Meteo Mundo is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. It is storm season. Storm moves across your area. Hail damage, wind damage, hurricane damage. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process, offering free consultation and policy reviews. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for taking a quick second and liking and subscribing if you haven't as of yet. If you've made it this far in the video, I really do appreciate that as well. Have a great rest of your day. I'm back tomorrow with the latest forecast for you right here at Meteo Mundo.